Congratulations on getting this far through the course. We are finally going to roast some coffee. So grab your green beans. Hopefully you should already have 100 grams of green coffee weighed out in your little tray. Before we start, we just want to double check the settings on your roaster. The drop handle should be down, the air temperature should be at the target temperature, and double check that you have the right profile loaded. If everything is ready to go, then let's charge our first batch. First, pour the beans into the hopper. So to do this, just squeeze the tray to make a little spout, and then pour them in. Now to charge the batch, you can lift up the charge handle. Have a look through the top to make sure that all the beans have gone through, and then let the handle drop. You can see on the touch screen now that the roast has started automatically. The inlet temperature is going up, and under next event, it's moved on to say yellowing. This means that the roaster is waiting for the beans to heat up until the point where the beans start to turn yellow. Now the roast can finish this roast automatically. We don't have to do anything else. But while the coffee's roasting, let's take a look at what's happening in the live view. So on your computer, your tablet, or whatever it is you're using, go to the web portal. That is front.roastcoffee.com. Click on where it says live next to the picture of your machine or up here on the top menu bar, and it will load the graph of the current roast. Here you can watch the roast progressing in real time. Each of these lines shows you the temperature reading from a different sensor. Depending on what kind of machine you have, you may not see all of these. You'll only see the ones for the sensors that you have on your particular machine. So the green line up at the top here is the inlet temperature. That's the temperature of the air coming into the roaster to heat it up. You can see at the start of the roast, it climbed up to 290 degrees, and now it's staying there, just like we told it to. Behind that green line, you can just about see a yellow line, and that's the target temperature that we set in our profile. Since we're right at the target temperature, it's hard to see, but you can see it here at the beginning of the roast. Next, we have these blue and dark green lines. Those are the air and exhaust temperature sensors. So that's giving you an idea of the air temperature inside the drum. Now this red line here is probably the most important. That's the bean temperature. So this is the temperature probe in the middle of the bean pile. And then this turquoise line is the bean temperature rate of rise. Underneath, this purple line is the drum temperature. If you remember, that's a sensor that we have attached to the outside of the drum wall. And finally, at the bottom, these lines here show you some of the roaster settings. The grey line is the power, the light blue line is the fan setting, the darker blue is the RPM, the speed that the paddles are turning at inside the drum. So there's a lot of information on this screen. But if you want, you can turn some of these lines off to make the graph easier to read. Down the bottom here, you can see the legend that tells you what each color line represents. Click on one, and it will hide that line. Click on it again, and it will come back. So you can choose how much information you want to see here. The panel on the left shows you the current readings for some of the most important measurements. Again, you can choose what you see here. Click on the settings icon and select the measurements that are most important to you. The last thing I want to show you is the Compare with Batch button up here. You can use this to see how the roast is going compared to previous roasts. So click on a batch number to select that batch. The dotted lines show you what happened in the roast you've chosen to compare to, so you can see how consistently you're roasting from one batch to the next. You can click on the batch again to deselect it if you want to. Now in the next minute or two, we'll be coming up to first crack. And when you start hearing the first pops, the roast should automatically detect them. You'll see each pop marked on the graph here, and a red line showing you the total number of cracks that the machine has heard. You can also see the number of cracks that the machine has heard here on the touchscreen. Once the machine hears enough pops, it will mark first crack. We set the number to 5, so the machine will mark first crack automatically as soon as it hears 5 pops. After this, the countdown begins. So now we're into the development time. And we set this to be 15%, so the machine will wait until we reach 15% of the total roast time, and then it will drop the batch automatically. So all we have to do now is wait for the roast to finish. When the beans drop into the cooling tray, remember to leave them there to cool down completely. The drop door will close automatically, and the machine will start heating up again. If you want to, you can pour in the next batch of beans and start roasting again right away. Or if you've chosen a between batch protocol, the machine will automatically follow that protocol until you start the next roast. So that's it. Roasting a batch of coffee is as easy as dropping in the green beans and letting the roast take care of the rest. but at the same time, you have a lot of information and data about what's happening to the beans. So go ahead and roast a few more batches of coffee, and try experimenting with some of the settings. Try roasting in manual mode, or try a different profile and see what happens. Once you're done, and you're ready to move on to the next video, I want you to start cooling down your machine. So to do this, just lift up the drop handle. Remember, when you lift up the drop handle, you turn the heaters off, but the machine's fans are still running, and so the machine can cool down nice and evenly. It's really important that you let the machine cool down completely before you turn it off. If it's still hot when you turn it off, then you run the risk of warping the drum or damaging some of the components. So, lift up your drop handle to the upwards position, leave your machine running, and then while your machine is cooling down, let's have a look in the next video at the roasting logs.